What's up, YouTube family? It is S.Craft once again with another barber tutorial, and today we're going to do a shadow fade with a freestyle design. As you can see, I started off in the parietal ridge area with an 1.5 wall premium guard. Now I drop down just a little bit with a 1 open, and then I'm going to close that one and go right up under that. Notice on the right side of his head, I am not going to fade all the way down because I'm doing a shadow fade. A shadow fade is simply an open blade. It's kind of where you get that 5 o'clock shadow effect. Some people do a half guard. I prefer just to do an open blade, and I'll do that later. Right now, the reason I started going down with the number 1 all the way in the back and all the way around the left side of the head is because that's where I'm going to focus on doing the design. Now, I did not know where I was going to end the design. That's why I just went ahead and did the whole back of the head with the number 1. I believe that doing the number 1 for designs work better. I think it's the perfect length to give you that great dark look, but it's not too long and it's not too short. It's just a good guard to use. So I'm doing the number 1 guard, not really making sure that the blade or the blend is perfect, because a lot of that's going to be covered up with the design. However, I do want the canvas to be nice and clean, no little hairs popping out everywhere, but I want it smooth so that when I start the design we can get into it. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit up this edge real quick, but I want you to remember in my last video, and if you haven't seen it, go back and watch the freestyle design video. I talked about white lines and dark lines, and the white lines are the ones that I was shaving into the hair. The dark lines are the one that's actually the hair coming out of the head. It's the design that you see that's not shaved. It's the part that's left. So I wanted to slow this down real quick and show you something, because many people ask how I get those kind of like curved or oval or rounder looking designs. See, I just made my first white line. This is my first, my focal point of the cut. I focus on the white line first, and I just kind of made that thing curve down a little bit, and then I brought it back down at a downward angle, and then I brought it back up at an angle. And for me, that's a lot of my designs and what I'm doing. Now watch, I'm just going to put a line right under that, and I like to do from smaller to fatter lines, and I'm taking this line all the way back because I'm going to extend this design to the back of the head. So I just want you to know, I just put it back there and I'm forgetting about it. Now I'm focusing back on the front of the head. But notice I did my white lines, but now we see that dark line popping out, and from this moment I'm focusing on nothing but my dark lines, because there again, some people, they see, when they look at a design, all they see maybe is the white lines. I don't. I'm focused more on the dark lines or the design that's popping out at me. So I slowed that down so you can see that I simply just kind of rounded that in. I made some lines and I kind of curved them a little bit, but then I just rounded that in, and I wanted you to see that's how you get that round effect. So now I'm doing the same thing. I just cut a little line in and I kick that line back almost like a V, and with the white lines, and then I can see my dark lines coming out, and once again I'm focusing more on my dark lines, and I want that dark line that I'm working on now, that dark part of the design, I want it to be kind of roundish. And the reason I like to do rounder looking stuff versus boxier square looking stuff, to me, I think it's more intricate. And a lot of people always ask, man, how do you get those lines round like that with just a clipper? Well, that's how I do it. And to me, I think it just pops more. I think it's more unique, and people really, question how do you do it. So I think it actually makes it come off a little more difficult, which then kind of gives more props to the barber for being able to do something like that. And as you can see, it's very simple, very simple. So now once I kind of did that S shape, then I just kind of made another little dark line that came back. I didn't want to take it all the way up into the head, but I stopped kind of right at the top of the parietal ridge there, and then I just moved it around, and now, as you can see, because we're working this design all the way back, now I just kind of pick something else to do. So I figured at the end of that S looking shape there, I would just start something else. And I told you before, it's really difficult to teach creativity. I can teach you how to, you know, clean the canvas. I can teach you how to do sharp lines. For example, like turning your blade over. I always will use like the corner of my blade to kind of draw like a pencil. And there again, I'm making another V shape. Look at there. I mean, I do a lot of V shapes and it gives me those nice little designs. But you know, I'll do just holding my blade regular like I was going to edge someone up, but then I flip that blade upside down and I go back on that line, and you'll see in just a moment what I'm talking about. There you go, boom, right there. And I just go down where I see little hairs poking out and I clean it up. It makes it look so much sharper. Once again, the creative part really can't teach. You just got to get in there and start making stuff up, man. I mean, just roll with it. But I can teach you that, you know, like with this line, it's skinny on one end and it's starting to get fat right there. See how I kind of made that to a point? And I just wanted it to be a little fatter because I think that if everything is like symmetrical and all the lines are the same size and they're all straight, I think it's just kind of boring. In my opinion, it's just plain. So exaggerate some of those lines, man. Stretch them out. If you're going to make a zigzag kind of part looking thing, then go ahead and make, you know, part of that skinny at one end, and then, you know, at the pointed end, kind of drag it out a little bit so it looks a little fatter, and then bring it back to a skinny point, if that makes sense. Now, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to throw a little triangle deal right here in that open spot that I have, and I come back in later and I kind of fade that point of that arrow or triangle. I just kind of fade that a little bit just to give it some more dimension. But here we go. I'm just going down, and now I'm thinking I want this little piece right here to have that rounded or oval look again, not real boxy and square, but kind of rounded. So watch, I'm just lightly curving the blade down just a little bit. When I was working on the bottom, I was just curving it up, and obviously I'm OCD, so other things catch my attention, and I'll come in and kind of tap those a little bit just to make sure it's clean as I'm moving. And that's the thing, if you want to make money, a lot of times people, they'll do, you know, just sketch the design in, kind of real shabby looking, and then come back at the end and then go and clean it all up again. You can do that. I do that specifically if I'm doing like portraits or any kind of picture designs. But when I'm just freestyling, I try to get it as clean as I can as I'm working my way across the head, just so that I don't really have to come back and do much. Watch, boom, I came down with a line, now I'm coming up. There's that little V again, you know, and then I'll just come back in and clean that up. And now watch, I'm just gonna come down because now I'm seeing that dark line, and I want that dark line to kind of just wrap around back towards the ear area. And that's what I do. I just get in there and just, you know, start making the lines. Like I said, I start with the white line. Once I get that white line and I kind of, there again, maybe kick it back with that little V looking thing, then all of a sudden I start seeing my dark design or my dark lines pop out, and from there on I pretty much just step back, look at the head, and I'm like, what do I want these dark lines to look like? Oh, I want this to look a little, you know, like a zigzag. I want this to kind of look round, and I just kind of go from there. Now once I feel like I'm finishing the design, I'll come back in, and little hairs that maybe I don't like or I want to be bald that I'm not going to blend in, I just kind of knock those off. I'm cleaning right now around that design in the neck area. I'll just let that be my edge right there. But now this was going to be a shadow fade, so I took the guards off, opened the blade up, and I'm just tapping the little areas that is not part of my design. Now I'm focusing more on the haircut part of this design. So now I do want to kind of blend this in, so now I'm kind of doing a reverse fade. I'm keeping it a shadow at the bottom and just kind of closing my blade as I work up, just to kind of, there again, give it some more dimension. And I think it looks cool, you know. So we always see fades going down, right? It's darker at the top and it fades out toward the bottom. So I think with designs, we're doing something different. Let's kind of start with it dark at the bottom, or the point of that edge, and just fade kind of bald up. And I'm not going all the way bald, you know, but I did want there to be some kind of little fade on that corner there. There again, just kind of coming in, cleaning up the neck area. So now I'm just going to fade right in this little area. As you can see, I kind of balded that out there just because I wanted there to be some separation between you know, the design and the haircut in that specific area. And what's cool about designs, if you mess up, then you can, you know, act like you meant to do it, because no one knows that you know, didn't mean to do it. If you were actually, you know, copying a picture, then you got a problem, because then they can look at the picture and know, okay, that doesn't look right. But when you're freestyling, that's what I love about freestyling, and boom, there you go. So right now I'm coming back in, I'm tapering out the bottom of the neck. As you can see, I'm just kind of cleaning up that little triangle area and threw a little fade on it to give it more dimension. Got the open blade just going up to kind of where I faded. Now I got a 1/16 guard on there, blending that open blade into the one guard that I had earlier, and then come back and just cleaning that up, finishing out the edge. He's got one of those edges on his forehead that you have to create the edge for him, because he just has a lot of hair on his forehead. I'm coming in, cleaning up the top with, you know, scissors. Now going around the edges, doing clipper over comb, just freehanding a little loose hairs. And then in just a moment, like you'll see that I'll come back in with the scissors and tap it up. But now I'm just coming in and I'm going with a little razor, just because his hair is so thick, and I want this edge to really pop. Sometimes we don't use razors on kids. I'm not going to use a razor on the design. If I did, obviously it would pop a lot more, but I'm trying to save time because I have an appointment right after him. But I just wanted to show you guys how easy freestyle designs are. So I'm cleaning them up, and I did make a mistake on him on his edge using this razor. I should have went with the grain at first and then came against the grain, because I noticed that, you know, those, whenever I was going up and his hair being so coarse, it did kind of leave little blood spots where it kind of maybe pulled the hair a little bit. Didn't cut him, but I think his skin's real sensitive still. Like I said, after I gel it up, kind of seeing if there's any loose hairs sticking out, I'll use my shears and just go around the head, knocking off any hairs that may be sticking out. Spin the chair around, look, but boom. This is pretty much the finished product, guys, man. I hope y'all like it. You know, like I said, I'm not the best in the world, but I try my best, you know, and whatever I have, I'd like to share with you. If you have any questions or comments, please hit me up. But make sure you subscribe. Thank you guys once again for just watching the video, for subscribing. Make sure you hit that notification button. God bless you. Peace.